So I guess at this point it's 9:51. So I see 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people in here. So there's people here. So we'll just get started. So the purpose of this was kind of just to go over some things within your Google account and just your device prep, kind of like some of the things you can do prior to summer, if you're leaving it, or even if you're taking it with you this summer for some reason. Some of these things might help you, just kind of clean up your profile a little bit and give you a little bit of an understanding of some of the things you can do. That's relatively simple and quick. For example, things like, signing into the browser, making sure you're in the right profile. The Windows login versus the Google login, and what's the difference? Being that all our teachers have Windows machines now, there's a double login on that side. So, just understanding that process allows you to kind of be more familiar with the process and also understand the process better and eliminate possible conflicts or problems. So I'm just going to briefly touch on some things, and Vinny and from Poultney and Bill from West Rutland and Middletown and Wells is also joining in. So if they have anything specific from their schools, they can mention it. For the most part, the Google stuff I think is pretty universal around the district as far as what I'm going to show you. But if they have something specific at their school, they can mention that as well. And if you guys have any questions, just let us know and we can stop and answer those for you. So the first thing I was going to mention was just why do we need to collect your devices in the summer? And really the reason is mainly the updates and upgrades and things like that take place. And again, most, if not all of you, have Windows machines again. So that requires the routine maintenance in the summer. And it's really the only time we get to do this maintenance. So that's kind of why we get pushy about trying to get the equipment back. But the thing I wanted to mention was I don't need to keep those all summer. You can come and get them if they're ready, and if they're all left at one time, I work on them and I'll get them done in a bigger amount, and then I can let people know, hey, they're ready if you want to come get it. So it's not that we need it for the whole summer. I just would love to get them done early on, so you guys, if you needed them, you can have them the rest of the summer without any problems. So with that said, the next thing I wanted to touch on was the teachers having an understanding of logging into their device. So the fact that you have your Windows device now, you have to sign into Windows before you get to your Google account. So since you're using the Windows machine, you want to make sure that you sign into that account first, obviously, and it's not going to be the same as your Google account necessarily, unless you set the password the same. Again, this may vary in some of the schools because not all the computers are on the same in the same situation, which would require some of this routine maintenance as well. So, obviously, I think most of you know that you have to sign into Windows and then to get into Google. So once you get into Windows, you open up Chrome. And again, most of this you guys probably already know. I'm going to see if I can share my screen here. So I wanted to show you adding profiles because I know a lot of people like to add their personal account and be able to switch back and forth. And you can easily do that within the profile. However, what I've noticed is people tend to get caught into I call it a Google Vortex, where the two accounts are kind of intertwining and just, you kind of get lost in it. So you're bouncing back and forth and you're trying to get this and you're going there. So I just wanted to help clarify some of that so you guys have a little bit of an understanding of how the profiles work in the Chrome browser on your Windows device. This isn't really for a Chromebook because when you sign into a Chromebook, you're signing into everything already Google. So there's nothing more for you to do at that point. So the Windows machine's a little different. So what I wanted to show you here is, let me see if I could find present now. I'm going to just present my screen here. Can you guys see that? Can you see that, Bill?
Yes.
Okay. I don't do this very often, so. So what I wanted to show was basically up here, and I can't see the other part, unfortunately, because of this thing. This is where you're going to add your profile to Chrome. It's the little icon at the top, right underneath that top bar. There's another icon that usually shows below. I can't see it now. Let me see if I can switch over here. Can you see that? here, or no, okay, that was a tab, my bad. Any case, this is the most important one anyhow. So we're going to click the small icon here, and you can see if you have other profiles connected to your browser already. That just because you have the profile there, doesn't necessarily mean it has the icon on the desktop. And that's what I wanted you guys to be aware of, is how to add that icon to the desktop to help eliminate the quick switch that really creates the confusion, or that you get lost in the two accounts. So to do it, you just basically, you're going to click the little gear button down there, and you're going to find whichever profile it is, and you click the little triple dot and you edit. And when you scroll to the bottom of the edit screen, there's a little checkbox or a little switch here to create a desktop shortcut. So when you add that to your desktop, you now have a separate icon for each profile. So I don't know if you were able to see that, but were you able to see my desktop over here? So I have all these profiles here for my different profiles. So when I want to use that profile, I just double click that icon and it opens just that profile. Everything in it, it's just like signing into a Chromebook kind of. Everything there is already signed in. It's all synced to your account. So that helps eliminate a lot of conflicts that I've come across during the course of my time here, is separating the profiles and putting that icon on the front. So if you have multiple accounts you want to use in Google, I would highly recommend doing that. So that was one of the things you guys can, if you haven't done that, can check that and make sure you have the icons and things like that. The other thing, so that was one thing. Let me get to the next. The other part is when you do sign in, and I don't know if I can do this. So if I add a person, it's going to ask you to add a name. I'll just call it Tech. And this is what will be displayed on your desktop icon. Pick a theme color. And it has it already checked by default. So it looks like once you set it, you can just. So this is where you sign into it. So you got to make sure you click Get Started, and you just basically sign into your. It's still walking me. This is all new to me, this part. So it'll eventually get you to the sign-in screen. So once you get signed in here, it'll prompt you for a few questions. So use this account to show you. So this message will pop up. This is really important that you click Link Data, because this is what's going to sync your profile, your bookmarks, your settings, and everything to the browser, to that specific account. So when I click Link Data, it will now create, and you say, yes, I'm in. I didn't really have anything in this account, but it does pull some bookmarks and things. Now, if you see this error, you can click it, and it's saying there's this, and you can enable it, I guess. So get the error out of there. So now when I go back to my desktop, you can see I have a RTS Tech Chrome icon. So that'll allow you to simplify the process of which account. So when you want to do your work stuff, you just open the work one. When you want to, if you need to grab your personal one, you can just double click and open your personal one. And you can take it a step further by separating them both and auto resizing it to split the screen. So you can have both profiles up at the same time. So, and you can do that with pretty much anything on Windows, split the screen. So you just grab the window, drag it over, and release. Any questions on that?
Actually, Neil, if you flick it to one side or the other, it'll automatically do that too.
Correct.
Yep.
Okay. So the other thing, I lost my. The other thing I wanted to talk about was the Google Drive client that is most likely on your computer. It's called Google Drive File Stream. Most of you can find it on your computer by just typing in Drive. And it has the app Google Drive, it looks like here. So this is basically, if you're familiar with things like Dropbox or there's other file sharing or cloud storage type things that you can use. This is the Google one we use. We install it on your Windows machine, and it creates a place on your computer that syncs with your Google Drive online. So no matter what I generally refer to it as the magic folder. So anything you put into that folder on your computer will automatically sync to your account online, after you sign into it. So it's a huge benefit to you guys, the teachers, because it allows you to always back your stuff up as long as you're using this directory or this folder on your computer. So if you get in the habit of opening everything from that My Drive folder and saving everything to that My Drive folder, it will always be backed up in your Drive online. You could sign into a Chromebook and get to your stuff. You could sign into your personal smartphone. You can get to all your Google Drive stuff that way as well. Everything would be backed up, and you wouldn't need your laptop. You would just need your access to your Google Drive. And that's one of the reasons why we push the Google Drive thing a lot, is because it backed it up, and it gives you a lot of versatility on what you can do with your Drive. So you can search for it on Drive. It's also going to be located in this PC as a drive. And those of you that have been here a while might remember the group drive or the H drive home folders. It's very similar to that, except this belongs to just you, and it only syncs to your Google account. So when I open up my Drive, you'll see it looks identical to what it looks like online in my Google Drive. So it's syncing everything directly to this, and everything is in there. Now, the cool thing about this is you can actually go in and you can manage your files from the Windows side. So it's easier to manipulate your folders and files within there that are contained in there. You can delete things, move things around to different folders, and those changes will sync. And you don't need to do it in both places. You just need to do it on the one side. So that's when you get an understanding and a comfort level with that, it benefits you greatly as a teacher. So it helps get things done from one place. I have my downloads there, so everything I download automatically gets backed up. That's something that I do. But there's things like that that you can do for yourself, so you always have your stuff backed up. And that way, if your computer ever breaks or dies or the hard drive goes, you don't have to worry about it, because you just sign back into your Drive client on the replacement laptop, and you're right back to where you started. So it is hugely beneficial to you guys to use this Drive client if you're not using it already. Any questions on the Drive part? I know I'm kind of breezing through pretty quick, but
Amy had put something in the chat.
Amy is. Let me see. If we don't have My Drive, is there a way we can edit ourselves? Absolutely, you can. One of the things we do is we give you guys administrative privileges on your Windows machine, so we can send you a link to download the installer to install it on the Windows side. So you can run it, install it, and log in, and it'll start syncing. So it takes it doesn't take long. It's a quick thing. So,
another thing too you want to probably point out, Neil, too, is as education accounts, we have unlimited data storage in our drives. So
yeah.
On personal accounts, I believe it's is it 25 megabytes?
25 gigs on a personal account.
Sorry, 25 gigabytes on a personal account, unless you're paying for additional storage. But on our education accounts, we have unlimited storage on our drives, which is that's really good.
You don't ever have to worry about running out of space. So, was there any questions about Google Drive and the client on your Windows machine? I'm assuming most of them are using it.
Let me just add one more thing, Neil, too. I want to emphasize the importance of using Drive, because these computers are not the most reliable in the world. So if you lose your computer and you've got stuff locally on that computer, it's gone. So I've seen a lot of people, when I was updating to new computers, that they had most of their data stored locally on the computer. Now, if the hard drive died or the computer died, all that local data, it's gone, unless you have some kind of a backup in Drive or backing up to a thumb drive or something like that. So I want to emphasize the importance of taking advantage of using the Drive. The other advantage is you can access that Drive from your phone, from any device that has Google on it, and from anywhere. So it makes it really convenient.
So I just had two more things I wanted to touch base on, and then I was gonna, if we have time, you guys can ask questions or take some time to fool around with some of the things that we discussed. And I know we're moving quick, but I think hands-on is going to be the best way. So you'll be able. For the most part, I think you guys will be able to figure most of this out. And if you had a quick question, we can answer it. I will stay connected to the meeting until the end of it. I think it was 10:35. So I'll be available during that time. But there was two other things I wanted to quickly show you guys, and that was bookmarks is something that can be helpful. Being able to export your bookmarks is just a quick little thing to show you that a lot of people aren't familiar with or aware of. But you can export your bookmarks, and it makes it this great list that is basically a bunch of links that you can. It's an HTML file, which it's all the links. You just click any of them on this file. It's just you could share it with your students. You can, do whatever you want with it. There's ways to utilize the file, not to mention back up your bookmark. So like, for example, if you were planning on leaving, I don't know if there's anyone here that's leaving, but if you're leaving, this is something that you would probably want to do in a transfer or a Google Takeout, where you'd want to export your bookmarks and so you have them. And let me see here. I got to present my screen again. And the other thing about Bookmark is the Bookmark Manager allows you to really, these bookmarks up here, if you can see up here, you can put them in folders, and it allows you to organize things. Like here's all the district websites in a single folder, so that gives you much more real estate on your bookmarks bar to organize your bookmarks. I try to limit them because I use pretty much the same ones a lot. So you can also rename them to shorten them. If you right click any of these and hit rename, you can rename them. So it's easily managed within the browser. So in order to pull your bookmarks out, you just click the triple dot up there in the browser, and there's a bookmark section here, and you're just going to go to the Bookmarks Manager, and this is also where you can organize your bookmark. This is actually really helpful thing for the teachers, I think. So you can see this is all my bookmarks here. Now, if I wanted to pull them out, you got them up there on the screen. You'll click that triple dot is usually where you're going to find the tools you need. And there you go. You have the import and export. And right away, you can see that once you export it, you could go back to another account, a personal account, wherever. It could be any browser, to be honest, and you can import those bookmarks into another browser. So that's how you actually would do this. So if I export it, so you can see what happened, it pulls it up as a file and it wants me to export. You can see I've exported a few times here. So I'll save it. Now, keep in mind that's saving it to my computer. If I wanted this in my drive, I would have to move it to my Google Drive folder or upload it into my Google Drive.
Another thing too, when you do that, it will add those bookmarks into a separate folder, so it separates them. It doesn't just blend them into your current bookmarks.
Right. And you can see what happens is my folders actually created a nice organization of all my bookmarks. These are all my bookmarks. I don't know if you guys are seeing that or not, actually. Should be. Displayed in a different way. Now, the cool thing about this is they're labeled how I labeled them, but if I click them, they'll open up that website. So this is something that could actually, it's another way you could use this with students, where each year, if you had a group of bookmarks that you wanted to use, you could just create this folder, and that could just be a file in their drive, a bookmark, or something like that they could use. So I just wanted to make you guys aware of that. I wasn't looking to, it's not something you have to do. It was just something I wanted to show you. And again, you can organize your everything here. You can add a new folder. And then you can drag icons into the folder. So you can organize it pretty much like anything else in Google. If you want to delete it, So So that's bookmarks. And then the final thing that I wanted to just touch on was, if I can find my sheet, was Google Contact. During the course of the year, a lot of staff members leave, new staff members come in. One of the things that happens with contacts is when you communicate with somebody through email, Google will automatically store that contact into your individual contacts within your profile. So I can't see the bar I need with this sharing my screen. Let me see. So if you go here with the grid up top, and there's that other icon I was talking about, you'll see contacts as one of the apps in there. So if you open up contacts, what you're going to see is pretty much anyone you've ever communicated with, which in my case is probably everybody in the entire district. So you'll see any email that's ever been there. Now, the problem with this is it doesn't remove them automatically when we remove somebody from the domain or remove their email address. So this is something on the teacher side that would require you guys to kind of go in individually into your account and remove ones that aren't needed anymore. Because what's going to happen is if you have ones in there that are have a typo or they're no longer there, what's going to happen is they will propagate when you start typing in an address or somebody's name to find their email address. Those are still going to show up, whether they're right or wrong. And in order to remove them, you have to go into this contact and go through your list and find those and remove them. There's some tools in here as well where they have merge and fix. Here's somebody that obviously emailed me from a personal address, and I have both contacts recognized in that. So you can merge your contacts into a single contact if they match up. So definitely check them before you do that. So, so this is kind of important because a lot of times you're going to find, like for example, here's Dawn Daly, who had retired a few years ago. She's still in my contact. If I want to send an email to another Dawn, that's always going to pop up, and you may accidentally click it. So I'm just going to go in and delete it out of my contact, so it's no longer going to be there. So once you remove it from your contact, it won't show up anymore because they are no longer active on the domain and they're no longer in your contact. So are there any questions about that, about managing your contact and how to get to it? And again, you can add contact in individually as well. Like if you add your parents in there and things like that, you can do that. You can easily make group contact or within your profile. I was going to touch on group contact, but I think we'll just leave it about the contact with that at this point. So any questions about the contacts? Hopefully this is a little helpful to you guys. I wasn't sure if it was going to be or not. Any questions about anything in general? No? Did anyone have any thoughts or anything they're not sure about that they wanted us to maybe touch base on?
I just wanted to add for people who are taking their computers home this summer is when you should restart your computer at least every couple days. It's a good habit to do it, especially because there could be updates sitting there, and sometimes something will change. And one thing where if the update's not done, it could cause conflicts or something might not work properly after that. So if you ever see little dots on your where it says restart or shut down, please run those updates over the summer. It's going to make things run a lot smoother.
Yeah, you should see a little notification icon actually in the lower right side, where the clock is. Usually there'll be an icon there, and it'll have a little, you'll see a little, I guess it's a little exclamation point maybe or something. And that kind of is just telling you, and the Chromebooks do this as well. They have an indicator letting you know when there's an update. It's hard to notice because it's so tiny. So you have to kind of look for it. So again, it's down in that little area in the right corner of your desktop where the clock is. Usually, if you click that little arrow.
Also, be patient, because some of these updates, it'll restart your machine and then go through. Don't shut your machine off. Don't do anything during the updates, because it'll screw them up.
Yeah, leave the laptop open. Generally, you want to do it towards the end of the day when you're not needing it as much during, you know. One of the things I saw a lot this year was when the updates weren't run, certain things like webcams weren't working, audio wasn't working. Things start to happen when the updates aren't run, and a lot of times the updates fix those things. So yeah, that's pretty important.
Yeah, most of the updates are security updates. So, especially like we're not using a third-party virus program, so we're using Windows Defender, and that updates on a regular basis. So it's kind of important to make sure that those Windows Defender updates are done.
Neil, oh,
Oh, sorry. Is Corey here? Corey Smith, are you here? I don't see your name.
hold on, sweetheart.
I think Linda has a question.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
go ahead, Linda.
Neil, okay, just two quick things. One is really with students. I see them all the time just shutting the computer cover down instead of logging off. What is the right way for them to stop using the Chromebook and then start using it again, like later?
Well, during the course of the day, I guess that would, when they shut the lid, it doesn't shut it down. I'm not even sure, because it's changed a few times over the years. I'm not sure if it even logs them out.
No.
So in the past, that was a security issue where kids would grab other Chromebooks and they'd gain access to somebody else's account. So it's really important that if they're done using it, and because they do, shut down quickly and boot up quickly, you can press and hold the power button. I think it's about 5 to 7 seconds and it'll power off. The other option is to go through the process of clicking in the right corner and shutting down and clicking the button. You just got to take the time to do it. So
Okay, either
yeah,
way.
the quickest route. We could change the settings on the Chromebooks to do that when they shut the lid. However, that creates a lot of problems for the younger kids, as you probably know, being from kindergarten. It creates a problem for them because every time they do something, they have to log back in, and it just really is it creates a problem for the younger kids. So they had to
Okay,
turn that
and
off.
then the second thing is, I told my students they could get on Google Classroom if they wanted to look back at anything we did. That's true, isn't it? I mean, it's not going to go away until I delete it. Isn't that true?
That's correct. I don't have a lot of insight on the Google. That's where I was looking for Corey. I see another question here from April about it. I'm not really had that much knowledge about the Google Classroom side of things. So that would be more of a question for the coaches.
Okay.
April had a question. She was wondering about cleaning out the Google Classroom, and is there a way that they should do this? And I'm not sure how you manage that. If you rename your class, if you just create a new class every year, I'm not even sure. So I've never actually used Classroom.
All right. Thank you, Neil. Thank you very much.
Any other questions or anything? Did you guys do you want me to touch base on the group contact? I mean, we got a few more, we got a little bit of time left. Do you want me to take a few minutes and just kind of explain the Google, like the group contacts versus Google Group, which has been a lot of, I think, confusion about what they are and how you use them. Basically, the biggest difference between Google Contact and your Google Group, your group contacts in your account versus a Google Group is a Google group creates an email address for the group. And the reason you have this is because of, various people need to send to the group, parents group, all staff group, student groups and things like that. For an individual teacher that has a need to send to a specific group, it makes much more sense for the teacher to create a group contact with whatever context that they want to have. And basically, again, this requires you to add them to your contacts, and then you create a label. And again, I'm just verbally giving this to you, and I apologize if it's not helpful, but I'm just kind of making you aware at the same time that, you basically create a label for the group you want. And when you name the group, when you name that group contact with the label, it'll propagate when you type in that name you gave it when you go to generate an email to the group. So you can just add that group contact easily to an email and send it off. You kind of don't want to have too many because then it's more for you to manage. But if you just need one for the parents, this would be ideal for that, to create a group contact for your parents. You add them into your contacts, create the label for them, add them into the label, and boom, you got yourself a contact group for your parents for that year. You can name it the school year, 21, 22 parents or something like that. And next year, you can remove them all at the end of the year and start a new one the following year. So that's it verbally what, the group contact thing is. And that's, again, all done within your profile. Like you can click that grid up in the top right corner there, the 9 square grid, and one of them will be for contact, and you just open that up and you can dig right in.
Has anyone got any Windows questions that need to be answered quickly?
Well, Cindy Wagner had a question. Will this session be on the GRCC YouTube channel? I don't know. That would be if the coaches, we recorded it, so it could be, I guess, potentially put on the channel. So. Go ahead, Bill. Sorry.
No, if anyone has any Windows questions that they need to know.
Bill, can you walk us through sharing your screen, how you want us to update for the summer?
I'm not on a Windows machine.
Okay.
I'm on a Chromebook, so.
You mean you're updating your Windows machine? How do you do Windows update?
Yeah, you just go to the start menu. Is that all?
Sure, I can show you here.
Or anything you want us to do for the summer?
I would say the most important thing is you don't actually have to go look for the updates. They'll notify you when the updates are available, but it's to make sure that the way the default settings are is it doesn't auto run the updates unless you do a restart on your computer sometimes. So if you do notice, like in the restart or shutdown, it'll say shut down and run updates or restart and run updates. Just if you do see those options, make sure you run them.
So I can quickly, the easiest way to get to Windows updates is to go in, and this is the Cortana search bar down here. If you don't see that, then I think you can right click and you can unhide it. But you're basically just type in update here and you'll see check for update. And you open that and it brings you right to the Windows update. And I see I have an update right here that's not going to automatically install unless I click download and install. So that's an example of one reason why it's important to check for those updates is they may have that there where you have to click it to download it. It's a manual thing where you have to click. You may also notice something that says optional update. Those are going to be the drivers. So go ahead and click the arrow. That'll drop them down, and you can most likely just highlight them all and run them, and you'll be fine. So that's the easiest way to get to is you just type in update. The other way is you click the start button, and if you go to the settings, it will be an option. Usually, I think it's at the bottom, update and security, and it'll bring you to the same Windows update. I guess it's kind of like a math problem. There's more than one way to do it.
Also, if anyone does know they're running into some issues or anything before school starts, it would be helpful for all of us if we can kind of deal with those problems, kind of not at a last minute rush for when classes start. If you know there's something going on, try to address it. Give us a little time before school starts so we can look at it.
and that's kind of why we like to try to do the teacher machines early on, because we have to maintain and do a lot of stuff with all the Chromebooks, and there's a lot of Chromebooks. So we're really buried with the Chromebooks probably by August, I would say, if not sooner, getting the Chromebooks prepped and ready for the new school year. So that's what makes it difficult for us to find time to troubleshoot and resolve issues that might be needing more time, because we have a tight deadline with these Chromebooks. So
and our
and again,
Chromebook,
I just wanted to mention that, it is, at least for me, I can't speak for Bill and Vinny here, but I know if you leave your Windows device or your teacher device with me now, I mean, my goal is to have it done quickly. So like if you needed it during the summer, you would have it, probably by mid-July at the latest. So once I'm done the Windows machines, I can move on to the Chromebook. So that was my goal. So we do not need to keep them all summer if we can get them done early on. So
I know in my schools, I'm not. Most everyone has new computers, like only a few months old. So unless you're experiencing any known issues at the moment, I'm not going to do anything to them. But if you have a not new computer, you might want to try to get it to me, because but also we're trying to replace those by the new school year. So if we can get new computers, that's a moot point, I guess.
Neil, if my computer was new this year, do I still need to leave it with you for updates?
yeah, I'm asking my schools because a lot of them did not get the new asset tag, number one. And the other thing that's needed is there's been a printing change, and there's something I need to put on that I didn't have access to when I initially handed them out. So there's potential for some printing issues in the fall if I'm not unable to get this done. And any upgrades and things like that. But I'm asking because mainly for the asset tag and some of the work that needs to be done on them that is kind of required. It's the paper cut printing and things. So
Okay.
there's something that we need to do on the Windows side.
Am I correct in thinking that if we want to get it back when you're done, that we need to fill that paper out and leave that with the computer also?
That would be helpful, yes. If you are going to come take it, you definitely have to fill out that form. And actually, the fact that you brought that up is good, because I created a Google form for that, so it doesn't have to be filled out in paper. And I got approval from Greg to share that out. So I can send that. I'll send that out to, I guess I can send that out district-wide.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
And just fill it out to the best you can, Any other questions?
So I'm not sure. I know my computer was replaced because something happened to mine. But I don't know if mine's a new computer or just a loaner, and then I know some teachers still have Chromebooks. So are they going to be getting Windows devices?
I believe that's going to be your newly assigned computer, because the other one it's dead. So, and I think the only people that we're not replacing Chromebooks for, I think if you're a paraeducator, I think we're not. Are we supplying Chromebooks, Neil, to paraeducators? Or
I think it's based on the school if they have them available.
All right.
Okay, because I know one of my other special educators still has a Chromebook, so I just wasn't sure.
Okay, special ed though goes through Jan, right?
Yeah, and most of the special educators that on my side at least, were the Chromebook was adequate. But again, I know everybody's job's different, so that's something that you probably have to, Jan or Christine or Kim, to touch base with them about letting them know your situation so they can make that decision.
Yeah, that's a separate budget.
Okay.
From the regular school.
And Hannah just said she still has a Chromebook too. She's a science teacher though.
Here at West Rutland. Yeah, we're trying to get I believe 20 more computers, teacher computers. So through the summer. So
yeah, I think most of those voids will be filled at the start of by the start of next year. So if you do still have your old device, if you're from my side of the district, I do need that secondary Windows machine back. If you need a secondary device, I can look into getting you guys maybe a refurb Chromebook that can be used in the class. So we'll even have some extra touchscreens with bad mics, but they're touchscreens that you could use to connect to your projector or panel or anything that you wanted. Anything else? Anyone have any other questions? Okay, I see some people chatting that they have Chromebooks. So I think if you have a concern with your device, especially if you're in a special education, if you need a new one, I think it would be helpful if you reach out to us to let us know what you have in this situation, and then also, maybe we can work with the sped department to try to get it, make sure you get a replacement, just to make sure that if it's needed, they can get it replaced. So I know one of the big problems with the Chromebooks was that they did not have the specs it needed to really be a part of the Google Meets and present and do things like that. So that created a big problem for teachers and some other staff members.
Yeah, but going forward, I don't
Right.
think there's any plans on remote for the upcoming school year. But
Correct.
that could change, though. I just heard there's a new variant out in Europe, and Europe's starting to shut down again. So who knows?
Well, either way, we'll be in good shape if everybody's got their machines and everything's updated. We'll be in good shape, regardless. And I wanted to just give a shout out to all you teachers, and you guys did an amazing job doing the hybrid learning and everything. It was a lot of weight, and I saw from both ends as a parent and from an employee, and as an outsider. So you guys were awesome, and you deserve a lot of credit for what you were able to do this year, because I know it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy for us either, but it was a tough year, and you guys deserve a lot of credit for that. All right. Well, if there's nothing else, I guess we can. I can stay online here. You guys can, if you have time to mess around with any of that stuff. It's only a couple minutes, I guess, at this point. So if there's no further questions, I guess we could probably just end the meeting. Feel free to chat me or any of us if you got any questions or anything. We'll try to get the questions in the chat over here answered. So, all right. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much.
All right. You're welcome.